Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on January 23rd, 2024 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools that I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the philosophies I literally guide my own life by. With this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because not only do they work for me, but they have literally worked for thousands of people over the years, depending on their own efforts regarding their level of success. Now, before we go any further, we have Eternity Eternal in with the gold. How you doing, Eternity? Hope things are going well for you. And Storm and Shadow is in with the silver. How you doing, Storm? Thanks so much for joining us. And Pink Moon is in with the bronze. Fine. Pink Moon, you've been busy, I'm presuming. Hopefully things are well. And LA Moon, you're in with honorable mention. And I know you've been a little on the hectic side. Well, we are breathing, which is a nice change given the last couple of days, but hey, what the heck? So now it's time to get underway. So, of course, today being Tuesday, we're looking at the imagination, gaming, how that all comes together, and literally why and how the imagination is actually your key to a much brighter tomorrow. But it's up to you whether that tomorrow is brighter or, shall we say, a whole lot darker. Okay, it really depends on how you decide you're going to put the effort in or what you're going to put the effort into. I think those are all A's. Now, let's see. I've got the doors closed. I was supposed to. That's a nice change. Usually I forget something. So let's get this out of the way. Started working on that little piece. Of course, we do have our clipboard to make notes when we find we require them. What I didn't quite get done was my desk cleared so I could actually pay attention to what was going on. But that's okay. This is just plain normal, I'm pretty sure. One of the neat things I did find, I actually went down to my printer today, and a book that, quite frankly, I don't think I'm ever going to sell is going to print. She's just confirmed the order. I'm just waiting for her to get it done now. But going through all my stuff, I came across a document that is my grandmother's life story. The neat part about it is I'm the only one with a copy of it. So I'm actually getting it printed now to pass on to other members of my family. Okay. I doubt, I'm going to have to talk to them and see if they're agreeable, if my two brothers are agreeable to putting it up on the market. If they are, it'll go on the market. If they aren't, it won't. Shadow and Sun, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, something to do here is we have to bring up this little file and look at Shadow and Sun. This is the link to Shadow and Sun's live stream. So, do drop in, give it a look. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. And boy, this is what I've been waiting for, in all fairness. We are 5 minutes into the stream, and we are already at 10 in the room. Now, here's when we start looking at your imagination. How do we make it happen? Okay, where is the key? Well, the key is right here. Okay, take a look at the way your world is. and start correcting anything you're not content with. Don't worry about what you desire your world to look like down the road. Okay, because that's not going to work that well. Well, more to the point, it's very difficult to say, hey, in 20 years, I'm going to like this. Not the way that works. And who do we got here? Drag that up here out of the way. Who is dropping me a line? Because it does look like it's kind of important. Yeah, that always makes it fun. Okay. Well, that was confusing. But, Shadow. I ended up, what I did was I found a transcript that my grandmother wrote, okay, about her life story. And once it is in print, once I've given a copy to members of my bloodline, especially to my two brothers, okay, I'm going to talk to them. If they're agreeable to putting it on the market to sell, then absolutely I will. If they're not, I won't. It's just that simple, because it is family history. I have no idea what it says. All I know for certain is I'm the only one that's got a copy right now. And Nathan, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And since Nathan is here, let us find that. This is the link to Nathan's show, to the Quantum Show. And rest assured, like, it's neat. I've been on Nathan's show a number of times. And absolutely, drop by, have a listen. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and then share the daylights out of the thing. The reality is, guys, that it is by this sharing that we are going to be able to turn this world around in spite of the shape it's in right now. Okay. Now, where are we here? Yeah, that market, that market that I'm looking, the book that I'm looking at, I haven't even read it, so I don't even know what's in it. What I do know is it has not been edited. I never even read the thing. I found it, gave it to my printer, and said, here, turn this into a hardcover book. Okay, but what all is there, I don't know. Okay, but that's where that is. But the imagination is the thing we're looking at. Okay, so let's get some of this mess out of the way so I can see what I'm working on. That stuff I'm looking for. Documents I have to deal with. And that's a neat little thing. What is that? I gotta go back through these things, but this clears my desk off so I can actually see it. Because, guys, here's the thing. Okay, I've got a week of planning, of scheduling things that I haven't got done yet. Of course, I keep getting pulled in multiple directions at the same time. What are we here? There you go. Now, when you're looking at your imagination, take a look at where your world is. Are you content with it? Are you happy with the way your world is laying right now? Okay. Now, as I've mentioned before, what is that? Did I actually write anything on that sheet? Yep. You take a look at it. Trying to figure out what you're content with isn't necessarily, no, correction. Trying to figure out what you're not content with is a lot easier than trying to figure out where you desire your life to go. Now, I've got a whole list of things I'm working on, and that's where this little thing comes in. Whoop, turn that around. Now, I got up this morning. When did I get up this morning? There we go. I got up at 2, went back to bed at 4:30, and got back up at 6 got back up at 6. So I'm working on what, 3.5 hours of sleep. When people tell me, "Oh, you've got to sleep more," no, you really don't. I've been on the go since this morning. But with that in mind, what are like when you take a look at it, in your eyes, does anybody have anything in your life that you're not content with right now that you're willing to share with us? Because it's time we start turning all of this around. In simplest terms, it's not all about me. Lord knows I cannot change the world on my own. All I can do is turn on the lights regarding what I see. Now, I have thought long and hard about it. I won't be shutting the stream down unless I happen to die, and then I think they just call that cancellation. It's funny. We're looking at the. Okay, we'll think that one through before we speak. Looking at social media. That's the idea. Of course, the funny thing there, LA, is when you turn the lights on, the rats scatter and the cockroaches run away. But the mosquitoes descend upon the light. Of course, they get cooked, but what the heck? All depends on how you look at things. But I look at it like I keep telling people, so many people are pointing at the politicians, the religious leaders, the wealthy people. They're not the problem. They are simply turning on a very big light, and so many people follow that line. Okay, what I'm hoping, what I'm aiming to do is create a bigger light than all of them. But in order to do that, I am absolutely going to require your guys' assistance. Okay, and this is why I am linking everything together. But when you look at your world, what are you not content with in your life right this moment? Because what I'm looking at this point is it's time to turn around and change the way your life is going. By doing so, the shockwave is that it'll change everybody around you, or a lot of the people. Let's go 50% and just be nice about it. Okay, and that's really heavy hitting. The odds are, if you change 1 to 2% of the people you're dealing with, it is still 1 to 2%. It is still a positive shift. And this is where I was having a lot of the trouble. Okay, but when we take a look at that, I go, okay, I've been scattered all over the place. In a lot of ways, I still am. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and we are going to be tangling. Let me just make a note of this. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Today we're looking at the imagination. Let me ask you this. I know a lot of you can imagine the world collapsing and going to the dogs, ending up in the bucket, famine, shortages, war. We can all imagine this. It's beaten into us almost by the politicians, by the media. You're doing it to yourselves, in all fairness. Take a look at the social media. And just don't take my word for it. Take a look on your main page. If you've got Facebook, if you've got Twitter, doesn't matter. Go to whatever venue you use. Okay. And count the number. Take a look at the number of posts that are negative, that are fear-mongering, bullying oriented. Okay. Or just shortage oriented. Take a look at those. Add those up, and then in that same space, add up how many are there that are talking about celebrations, people helping people, animals helping people, animals helping animals. Okay, look at the ratios. Okay, if I go to Facebook right now, okay, well, got to answer that because it's going to be a problem if I don't. This is what's called getting sidetracked in the middle of things. There we go. Now, minimize that, minimize that. If I take a look at this, just minimizing a whole pile of things, what do I got? Let's go to home page. On the home page, right when it opens up, what do I got here? Hey, do not do that to me. That just was not very nice. Like, I could do the count, but it turns out I'm not going to concentrate that well. So, this said, do your own count. Take a look at the ratios. Are there more things, including ads, that are posted that are saying, here's something that'll embarrass something, here's somebody at war, here's pictures that nobody wants you to see? Any of these negative, non-encouraging things. Do your own research. Yeah, I don't think I can be much more clear about that. Okay, the reality is, the reality of it is this. If we buy into the negative side, we are in serious trouble. Okay, and this is why I've got so many things on the go right now. Way too many things, in all fairness, but I have come to the understanding that as long as I stay focused on the positive, as long as I stay focused on this funny little aspect that shocked the heck out of me, okay, the amount of support I've gotten that I've received from you guys in this time of tumult for me has been absolutely astounding. I see the same thing going on between people in the chat room. Somebody mentions a problem and half the party goes, oh, well, here's an idea, and, our sympathies to you, etc., etc. Okay, it's this kind of support that's got to boil over and flood the world around you. If we leave it as is, if we continue imagining the way that the negative world is. Gordana, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Okay, I have started pulling the information together. Every tool that we have. Now, and I'm going to cross over a little here. Like I said, I'm looking at the imagination, but the imagination is the key to the higher senses. Now, all of the paranormal tools that we've got, all of the medical tools that we've got can be focused either negative or positive. Okay, now there is no question, at least not in my eyes, when we take a look at modern medicine, we've got a really cute problem. Modern medicine, this is why I don't have a problem with the pharmaceuticals. Okay, somebody came up with this wonderful idea. They imagined a medication that would help a given problem. Okay, what they seem to have overlooked was the amount of damage the same medication may do. But we can look at the positive. Okay, this blood thinner will help thin your blood. The positive side is it'll help thin your blood. Okay, and this is a good thing. Now we can focus on that, or we can focus on the side effect. And no, I'm not going to tell you which medication. That's your department. Nick, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, you can focus on the fact that this blood thinner will thin your blood, or you can focus on it may cause kidney failure. Now, you can go and concentrate on the negative and go, I'm not touching I'm not touching it. You're more than welcome, Nick. The one for February will be coming out shortly. Just had a few things I had to tie off. The reality of it is this: if you focus on the positive side of what things can do, and keep one very important little factor in mind, okay, you focus on the positive side, that's what you're going to bolster. You focus on the negative, you're going to create a massive problem. Now, do I have one handy? I don't think so. Nope, I don't. Which is probably a good thing. I was going to say you can take a look at a bottle of Coke. Now, I focus on the fact I like the flavor. Okay. I kind of have to focus at this point on the fact that it's got way too much sugar in it for my system. This does not make it a bad drink. By the way, there's another use for Coca-Cola. You'll love this one. You take a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola and you pour it just completely, empty it completely into your toilet. It's a great drain cleaner. At least in my house it has been. And a lot cheaper than many of the other drain cleaners. But you take a look at it and you go, okay, what are you going to do? Now, let me ask you this. In your eyes, is there anything in your life you would like to change starting now? Now, understand, this is only going to be the first step in it. So we are going to get involved in a number of changes as we go along. And what did I do with it? Oh, where did it go to? Whoop. Sure, dump that on the floor. That's a good idea. What I'm looking for here is a whole pile of paper that I was working on. Yeah, that's all got to be pulled through. That, the stack of paper I was just looking at. Where are we here? Nathan, I am not a mechanic. I cannot tell you for certain. Okay. As a matter of fact, I can tell you for certain that I'm the last person you want to talk to about mechanical work. I will, however, tell you, and I found this out the hard way, but no, I don't think I'll go there. If you want, I will talk to you about something that'll peel the hard water out of your radiator without even blinking, but I won't on air. Yeah, I do have a solution for you, but I'm not giving it to you on air. But the next time we're talking, ask me about it. I can't prove it. I'm no mechanic. I know what worked for me. And I know it was hard water it removed. I know I watched somebody one day on YouTube. It was brilliant. But please, if you're watching these tips on YouTube or on Facebook or whatever, okay, if you're watching these little things, okay, if you're watching these little tips, think first. I watched a video, okay, on YouTube, and it showed. Now I am going to get this, so give me 10 seconds here. And I will be right back. Now, I saw this on YouTube. Okay. And I'm cautioning you, it was absolutely bizarre. Okay. But the guy shows a bottle like this. Now, the funny part about it, it was a bottle almost identical to this. It was a 2-liter bottle instead. And he turns, oops. Yeah, thermite might be a little bit hectic. What do we got here? I just got back here and I looked at this. LA goes, thermite seems extreme. Yeah, but you gotta admit it would remove the hard water. You know, I watched somebody one day on YouTube took a bottle that looked identical to this, except it was a 2-liter, full of dark liquid. And he turns around and he goes, this is a great gas saver. This will save you miles on your gas miles. Just add this to your gas tank. I'm telling you, this is just downright stupid. Okay. I mean, there's no nice way of putting that. Adding something like this that comes out that looks like this in the bottle and is a dark liquid to your gas, this is just plain stupid. I mean, it will solve your gas problem, your gas mileage problem, because it'll seize your engine in all likelihood. That's just the reality behind it. But I take a look at all the options I've got that I can find and start weighing them out, whether it's a good idea, whether it's a bad idea. Sometimes my mind goes a little hyperactive, in case you hadn't figured that out. But let me ask you this. In your guys' opinion, I'd love to say, well, I'm going to say, let's see a show of hands. Do you guys feel that it is possible, or at least plausible, that working together we can start to grow things, start to make this whole understanding reach out and help guide the world out of the darkness it's living in? Okay. Do you feel this is possible? Okay. Now, I will tell you, there's an old saying, one man can't make a difference. Yeah, one can, because it takes one person to start things moving. Okay. If we turn around, one person, and if you look at it, one person tells one person, or tells two people, and so on and so forth, and what have you. Now, the neat part about that is, let's just do a real quick piece of math here. All the computers around me, I still like a solar-powered calculator. Okay, that's times 2. That's 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Go only 12 steps. Okay. If each one of you, and talk about being blunt and direct, if each one of you, and subsequently each person other than that, okay, now we have 594 people that are subscribing. Now, if we take 594, I'm just doing a real quick mathematical calculation here. 594 times 0.01 means if only 1% of you start telling 2 people every month, not every day, every month. Okay, we go 2 times 2 times 2. Whoop, try that again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If we do that, and if only 1% of you, in other words, 5 out of the entire subscription level at this point, tell 2 people, and so on and so forth, every month. Okay, if we do that, we could be looking, you take that times 594, that would give us 4 million viewers within a year. Now, you think about that for just half a moment. Okay, that's basic math. But you think about it. We have literally billions of people sitting in front of, sitting on pews, sitting on cushions, staring at the Yldrbac or at the gaming console and watching people playing games or telling each other that the world's going to end. We got billions. We have an opportunity here if only 1% of us pass on the word to other places, to other people. If only 1% of us tell 2 people every month. Okay, we could be looking at, what was that number? What are we? 100,000 man, 4 million viewers within the year. Okay, now I'm taking this to a whole new level at this point because I'm taking what I'm doing on the stream and I'm imagining a world. I don't know if you've ever seen the image of a globe with everybody holding hands around the outside of the globe. Okay, this is the world I can see happening. I can certainly see the other side. Absolutely, I can. I'm going to focus on the one where everything is green and lush and we're all working together. That's the one I'm aiming for. That's the one I return to this world to turn the lights on to show people where it is. Now, yes, I have my dark days. Absolutely, I do. Let's face it, 3 days ago, heart attack. Good run. Not a wise move, but hey, what the heck? You know, but this is why I say, oh, there we go. Nathan goes, I give random compliments and hope it helps the person down the road. I will. World, how you doing? Long time no see. I will tell you there, Nathan, that I've seen the side effects of that. And that one random compliment can stop people from from doing themselves in. I've seen it turn it that fast. Forrest Louie, glad you could join us. Now, where are we looking here? Take this. Take that. Now, where are we? World Bigfoot. This is the link to World's live stream. So drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Okay. Society absolutely is a mess, Nick. But let me ask you this: in your eyes, can the mess be sorted out if we put our minds to it, and our minds, hearts, and actions? Thinking about a positive change, it's a great idea. If you don't move, nothing happens. Okay, so I made the comment a while back that I was aiming at taking my newsletter global. Well, somebody came right off the bat and went, I'm in Australia. I've already got the newsletter, so you're already global. Now it's time to take the newsletter. Okay, that's positive perspectives. Combine it with this stream. And no, I haven't picked a name for the stream, and I probably should. Okay, having a name for a stream where it comes to marketing is usually beneficial. This said, if you guys have an idea for a name, okay, I am at this point. I'm all ears. I'm still looking for how to go about that. Okay, for the best way to going it. World, yeah. I found out that heart attacks are bad. Okay. On the plus side, I didn't have a stroke. And I will tell you, strokes are a lot more annoying. Okay. But I'm looking at this going, the more there was a change today. I like it. And I'm in the middle of changing the way I'm looking at the world, at the way I'm seeing finances. Side effect: I got an email today from my credit card company. Oh, where are we? Let me scroll that down in a hurry. That's probably not a bad idea. It ties it right to the newsletter. I got an email from from my credit card company saying they wanted to talk to me, and they sent me an email with a link, but the link didn't work. So I phoned them directly. And yes, before anybody goes there, I double checked on the link to make sure it was going where it was supposed to first. But I'm thinking, okay, with the luck I've been having lately, they're phoning me up because somebody jacked my card. So the first thing that happens when I phone the company, the first thing I get into is it goes, "Oh, you've been authorized for a credit increase." Okay, so they took my credit and they jumped my credit card from literally the one credit card, the small one I've got, was a $3,500 limit. They jumped it to $5,500. One of the few good things that's happened recently, financially speaking. Now, this is the reason we're looking at this world going, how can we make this better? I'm focusing very much on turning my finances, the finances around my work in my home. I am looking at turning them into a positive shift. Okay. Now, I did just get, I got the bad news was my rent's going up by a whopping 3.5%, making my rent starting in May sitting at $1,100. Well, at $1,098. Now, the neat part there is that still less than a third of what the average cost of the type of place I live in is. Now, with that in mind, people talk about, what we're talking about with the imagination, with the off-worlders, the ancient races, something to ask yourself. Okay. Ouch. Yeah. Ouch there, world. I take a look at the world and I'm going, okay, I could concentrate on the fact everything's been going south, but I'm choosing to look at this world and go, I was having a lot of trouble last week. You guys jumped up to the plate, and some of you had never seen before, but you popped into the room going, I've been listening, behind the scenes, but do me a favor and don't shut the stream down. I'm not. Okay. But I am now looking at branding things and at pulling my entire world together. This said, I am opening up the door. This is where the imagination can take you. Okay. Take your hands. Okay. And I'm going to cross over between Tuesday and Friday. Tuesday, we deal with the imagination, with the gaming world, and I'll get to more of that in a moment. On Friday, we're looking at paranormal tools. But here's a neat little kicker. Oh, that it does, LA. The thing is, the amount of credit, LA is just going, having credit takes a terrific amount of personal discipline. Absolutely. Because credit gives you the ability to bury yourself in debt. On the flip side of that, if you control what you're doing, okay, it gives you the world. But I will tell you, you're better off buying things outright, not on payments. And we will get to that probably tomorrow. If not tomorrow, certainly on Saturday. Not a bad idea. Get this out of the way. Like I said, I've got a deal here. I've got a sheet of paper to keep myself organized. But you can take a look. Imagine, if you will, take your hands, put them palms towards each other, so they're only a quarter inch to a half inch apart. I have no idea how far apart my hands are here, but you get the idea. Hold your hands in at that range. Okay. And you focus on that. Momentarily, you will feel something between your hands. Okay. Now, that you can chalk up, you can say, oh, I'm feeling the energy. Or like many people will tell me, oh, you're just using your imagination. Let me be clear. Your imagination opens the world to possibilities. Okay. Now, what do I got here for tomorrow? Yeah. I'm wearing glasses. That makes it always fun to try and read close up. What do we got here? Tomorrow, and tomorrow. I believe that's Macbeth. But tomorrow we are looking at society itself. So what do you figure? Tangle with finances tomorrow under the title of society, or leave it till Saturday and tangle with it on individual level. I can work with either. Now, let me see here. Where are we? Oh, nice. I vaguely remember that one, the Arduin Grimoire. Okay, LA? Yeah, and it's a good place because it literally, we will take a look at it because it is a societal issue and we really have to take a look at it. You desire your life to change. It is imperative that you start looking at the practical side of it. Yes, the imagination is critical in making it happen because whether you believe you can accomplish something or you believe you cannot, okay, either way, you're likely to prove yourself accurate. Now we are here. Whoop. So we're going to, whether you believe, like, let me ask you this. How many of you actually feel that your imagination can be useful to you? Okay. Now I know the gamers in here know full well how effective an imagination can be. Okay, in making a world different. Okay. If we take your or more to the point, scrap the if. When we take your imagination, okay, when we take your imagination and focus on what you can accomplish, okay, there are things that doesn't work. Okay, there are things that I can tell you until I'm blue in the face. Oh, I'm a great mechanic. I used to think I was. I could pull anything apart, and after a number of hours, I could usually put it back together. Often it would work, yet it would have parts left over. So I always thought that meant that I was a better mechanic than I thought I was. Somehow, in the long run, that didn't work all that well. But picture, if you will, imagine, if you will, shortage of food. The people that are around you are decent people. Now, you are going to have to close doors. As we found out, I tried keeping the doors open here. I tried saying, everybody deserves a chance to ask questions. Absolutely. Unfortunately, the reality is there are some people that what they seem to be focusing on is hurting people or stopping people from getting ahead. Okay, I'm no longer interested in that. So I had to back down a bit and go, okay, moderators, I've sent you some guidelines. As a matter of fact, let me see here. Yeah, I've sent you some guidelines. Now somebody says, can I get back into the room or can I do this? Not my call anymore. I already dropped that. I already went. Here's the rules. These are the rules in this house. Now, I've simply asked the moderators, and thankfully they have turned around and said, yep, we'll do it. Where this will hopefully make this stream and by example affect other streams. But what I'm looking at and where to put it here. Because let's get this ratio down so I'm doing the same dang thing. What do you think? Now, if I'm going to tell you it works, maybe, just maybe, maybe the sun's going to rise tomorrow. Maybe I should actually start doing the same dang thing. Okay, I am going to go actively looking. Okay, I've got a couple of things I got to do tonight, but why do I keep getting up to go that direction? Told you I'm directionally challenged. The book I'm looking for is this one. Okay, I'm going to be actively looking for live streams that I can actually talk about what this book can do. Okay, this is the book that literally changed the way my life was working. And you'll notice it says, believe in yourself and follow your dreams. This holds the key to it. Okay, if your life is still in a twisted mess, I will tell you this, and it sounds absolutely bizarre. Okay, I'm telling you, if you're still looking, then you haven't found the one that works. Okay, and that's exactly why I put this together. I got asked so many times by people, how do I change my life? Where do I start? Well, it starts with the imagination. It starts with a simple question. Do you believe it can happen? Not, are you certain? And Gordon just says, and this now is going to last forever. It will only last as long as people feed it. Okay, but I do agree with you. If we stay on track, we can change the tide of the world. We really can. Okay, I saw a post one day that showed one leader standing up and everybody bowing down to him, except one person. One person was standing there, and the next frame shows a half a dozen people standing up against this one person that's downtrodden everybody. The third one, all of a sudden you got half the people standing up. And this is why I say we start telling people that, look, this stream, and this is what I'm aiming at. And yes, I am absolutely asking for your help. Absolutely, I am. But if only 1% of you step up to the plate and only 1% of them step up to the plate, we can still shift the tide. Okay? Because I will tell you, you take, let's say, out of 100,000 people in any city, 10,000 are working for the government. That leaves 90,000 of you to help change the world for the better in every community of 100,000 people. Okay, this is very plausible. It's just a question of whether we're going to get off our tail feathers and say, enough staring at the idiot box and watching people go, oh, the world's going to end. We're all going to die. Well, I'll clear it up. You're all going to die. Okay, it's not that frightening. I will tell you, the method of dying, there are some options. And most of the ones that I've experienced, not a lot of fun. I can tell you from practical experience that asphyxiation is not enjoyable. Okay, because you start off with your oxygen levels going down, then you start getting dizzy, then you start feeling the whole thing. They paint it great on TV. You get quieter, you get weaker and weaker. It's a brilliant idea. It doesn't quite work that way. Yeah. LA goes, dying's not an issue. The process is. Absolutely. And for the funny thing is, sentient corporeals are the only ones that worry, that fear death. Okay, in the way that we know it. Okay, the trick is not, are you going to die? I'm going to focus on whether or not I'm going to die. I'll save you a whole lot of hassles. You are. The question is, how are you going to live? Or are you going to live? I gotta wait for that to come up. Yeah, world goes, scariest words ever. Hello, we're from the government and we're here to help. I tell you, I turned to the government for help. Okay, when I turned to the government and said, I've got this idea for a publishing company. One of the printer, I've got 8 books in print through. She writes a letter of support going, yeah, I think he can pull it off. And I've got a lineup of people waiting for him to open the doors. The government turned around and goes, it's not a viable business. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to take an unviable business and I'm going to make the dang thing global. Okay, you're invited because I intend on taking people's, like, if you've got a single poem that you'd like to get in print, I won't change them. I will not edit them without request. Okay, but if they fit my parameters, in other words, I do not publish things that are adult oriented. As in, let's go into a poem that talks about the detailed activities of 2 people in the bedroom. Not going to get printed in my books. Okay, there's lots of places out there you can do it, just not mine. I'm not saying it's bad. Quite frankly, I've written some like that. They won't ever be published. But I'm going to take this idea of a publishing company targeting the people, targeting the people with these little things. Sandra, how you doing? Glad you could join us. The ironic part about it, Gordana, Gordana's is saying it's about control. The ironic part of it is that it's actually more about fear. Okay, a lack of self-control. So by controlling what other people are doing, many of them seem to think they can control their own life. Doesn't work that way. Okay, use your imagination. Okay. Yeah, I tried working with that. That didn't work well. Use your imagination. How bright do you feel we can make this future? How bright a picture can we make for the world to look back at us and go, hey, look, in all of this blackness, in all of this degradation, this depressing information, how bright can we make this place? That's what I'm aiming for. Okay. I literally, when I decided to come back to this world, in all fairness, this lifetime I came back to make sure that somebody in my last lifetime was taken care of. Okay, so I made one heck of a turnaround. But this world, my mission, my reason for being here is to turn the lights on so people can see where the pitfalls are. Okay, now I have seen where the pitfalls are and walk right smack into the wall. I'm telling you, I'm not the brightest bulb in the pack. Okay, it's just simply I've learned a few things. I mean, let's face it. I've spent 60 years walking into walls. Now I'm going to ask you this: if somebody can take what you're going through and turn that around and go, "Here's a doorway you missed," is that of any value to you? Okay, I was asked the other day if I am willing to go back and do psychic readings for people. And the answer to that question is yes. I will not go to work for another company in all likelihood. But the reality is, have I seen a lot in my life? Yeah. And the neat little part is you can take the gaming world, the imagination, and you can take those concepts and turn it into a going concern in the physical world. Bear with me over the next few months, and we will make that happen. But we got to start somewhere. Okay. And it's not about starting where I am. I know where I'm standing. Okay. I will talk about the changes I'm making because of the fact that by showing you this is what I'm doing, give it a shot. If you haven't done what I'm doing, okay, and if your world isn't changing the way you'd like, it may be worth looking into. Okay. Now I've got to pick, and obviously I'm going to have to pick a day. What I'm going to do in the on the days that I've got available is I will literally pick a day where I'm going to take my books, and then this will be over months because, like I said, I've got 8 books in print, and I am going to turn around and start dealing with them head on here, but not every day by any stretch. Take your imagination and let's bring it into the spotlight. Let me ask you this. What is, and absolutely, guys, if you put information in the chat room, I literally feed on what's in the chat room. It makes it so much easier for me. In your eyes, what is the first bill that should be paid in that you've got coming in? Where is the first chunk of money where should it go to make your life feel more effective? And yes, I do have the answer. Understand, I've been dealing with people on the consulting level for 50 years. Okay. And what I'm about to tell you is going to absolutely floor you. You know, Storm, I agree. That is what I used to think. Like Storm and Shadow is just going housing. And I'm telling you, that was what I used to think. 50 years of talking to people, of looking at their problems, with well over 150,000 clients myself. Okay. Here's the first thing, and I'm just recommending it. Okay, do what you will with it. This is what I literally do. A paycheck, whatever size it is, comes in. Okay, doesn't matter how big the check. It comes in. Take 1% off the top before you pay a single bill. Okay, if at all possible. Okay, yes, you do need to cover your rent. But if you take 1%, okay, you get a $100 bill. $100. 1% means you take $1. You get $1,000. You get a paycheck for $1,000. You take $10 off the top and put it in your pocket. Okay. What you've just done, because where that $10 in your pocket, that 1%, will change the energy of your finances from I'm working to pay my bills to I'm working and paying my bills. Because $10 off $1,000 isn't going to do a lot of damage to your ability to pay your rent. Okay, but again, it does it's not a black and white. It's not a concrete thing. Make certain, because you got to keep, that 1% is the first one that I look at. Then you make sure your rent is paid, your housing, whether it's rent, lease, doesn't matter, mortgage, it's all the same thing. It's that roof over your head. Now, let me ask you this. Which is your most important utility? When you've got cable, cell phone, internet, phone, power, water, garbage. Which of these utilities is the most important one to pay? And again, this is when we take a look at your imagination and go, let's imagine what's going to happen if we don't get this right. Okay. What are you going to be looking at? And I will tell you this, when you start picturing what your world's going to look like, I'm seeing a world like as you can tell, this office is a little cluttered still. Okay. But I'm imagining a world where I actually don't have to worry about finances. It's coming into balance. It's simply a question of realizing that if you see your life staying in a stagnant form, you're going to continue creating that. Okay, Nick, think of it this way. All water systems that I know of run on, 90% of them run on electricity. There are a few out in the middle of nowhere where water comes in, where water comes in on a gravity feed. On the whole, water systems run on power, as do phones, as do lighting, And, so plumbing, all of it is tied to, if you don't have power, 90% of your stuff won't work at all. Okay. What do we got here? Gordana goes, painting food of Renaissance times. Yeah, you do realize what that food really looked like. It's a good thing. Some people have developed much higher taste buds. Myself, I came to the conclusion if it's not moving, depending on texture, it might be workable. Absolutely, LA. I've got a buddy that literally for the first 10 years of his life was still walking to the well every day to pull water out and bring it back to his house. And we are talking about in the 1990s. Okay. This guy was still hauling water by hand. Okay. So, you look at it, and I look at it going, okay, take that 1%, if at all possible. Okay. And it doesn't matter what you buy. Okay. If that 1%, if that $10 out of 1,000 buys you a cup of coffee, maybe that's the only cup of coffee you get. But that one cup of coffee, okay, is what makes it feel like I'm working and, I'm working and paying my bills. This morning, I got the increase in my credit rating. In celebration, I went out for lunch. I haven't been out for lunch in a week. Okay, I used to be eating, like going out for lunch 4 and 5 days a week. But I had to make a decision. Am I going to turn that around and stop being a shall we say, short-sighted genius? But imagine what the world's going to look like when you focus on what is possible. Now, I'm just looking at this. I'm sitting here looking at this at the wall behind me. Let me ask you this, guys. Serious question. I've got the side of a bookcase. Nope, the side of the bookcase is over here. Right there. Now, this bookcase, it's a little blank. So I'm going to find a picture to put up on that. Okay. I'm debating what type of picture to put up. Now, there are a lot of different options because that's my bookshelf. It doesn't drive into the wall. So I can mount anything on that bookshelf that I desire. But in your guys' minds, what would be a good picture or a good type of picture to put on that wall? And yes, I'm dead serious about that question. I take a look at it, and over my right shoulder there, up there, that's the lighthouse that is actually on these books. This is why I don't have to worry about people going, oh, you stole that picture from the internet. No, I stole that picture from my own camera. Actually, in all fairness, I shouldn't say that. I took the thing down to my printer, and they're the ones that took the picture of it. Okay. But I asked a buddy of mine, my game master, I actually asked him. I looked at him and I says, why is it that every single character that I built in the last 10 years, every one of them, I ended up building a flaming empire? Why? And he looks at me and goes, drive? Okay. An ex-girlfriend of mine once told me that I don't use gaming for just relaxation. I use it as a way of physical manifestation. I take the world I'm looking at and go, how am I going to make this happen? With this in mind, I fully intend on taking chunks out of my prosperity. LA's going, I'd put a picture of a full bookcase and start filling it with books or things I value. The neat little trick with putting a picture of a full bookcase is how do you add the books to it as you go along. So I mean, I'm looking at it going, now what I cannot read it and I don't recall what it says. So I'm going to go over here. This picture here, what it literally says on this picture, it's a picture of the waves and then the moon over top. And it says, inspiration. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. This is on my wall. Okay. Because in my eyes, it's time to start making things happen. I am going to be looking into a few extra things. Well, yeah, the trick there is figuring out how to get the book to stay there. Of course, we also have to remember one other little detail about it being an actual book. Okay, that being, that side of the bed is also where my other half is eventually going to be sleeping, and I ain't having the book fall on her head. Don't want it on mine either, but when you look at it, take a look at the world you desire to have. Are you happy with your health? Are you happy with the way your finances are? It is time to start seeing that all change. Oh, the whole bookshelf. Like if you look at it, you can't see what's on it. But when you take a look at the top two shelves, actually the top three shelves, and what's on top is already her stuff. Okay. I told her I already had the bookshelf in place for her. She's going to start shipping some stuff up here that because she's not going to be able to drag it with her on the route. That's part of what's being shifted. But when you look at your world, okay, take a look at what you're not content with. That's the first thing we target, is take a look at what you're not content with. And let's start shifting that. Okay. Now, I've got in... Okay, we'll think that one through before we speak. What do you think? The character I've got right now, okay, my character for Thursday night's game is a halfling, but when I rolled him up, okay, because of the way we roll it up, in the D&D books, it tells you here's the range of height. Okay, so we figured out an algorithm, and you can have taller, higher or lower. Well, as it turns out, I've got a halfling that is only 1'10". Okay, so he got a little. Now the game master decided to go, instead of trying to get me to wrap my brain around how to work with Shadowrun again, he took Shadowrun, converted the whole weapon system, damage system, the whole 9 yards into D&D. Okay, so understand, I've got a halfling in Shadowrun that is 1'10", driving an international. Okay. Yeah, pretty much there, Forrest. He's driving. He bought a semi, right, with a 40-foot trailer that has a complete handicap setup, so that he can actually get up and drive the thing. All the gears, all the buttons, all the gear shifting, everything is on the steering wheel. So here we have a guy that can literally lay on the steering wheel of a semi, driving the semi. Okay. And he's still going out of his way to figure out how to actually get involved and make more things and make money, make more things. Same thing is going to happen as I get my feet on the ground. Okay, now I was approached the other day by somebody, I know they know who they are, about a potential book. Okay, I am quite willing to co-author another book. I'm in the middle of co-authoring one. Okay, on top of writing, I think 33 others right now, because I don't have enough to do. So, you got 33 books. We got a publishing company. It's going into action now. Okay. I'm opening the doors to do consulting en masse again. Okay. I just won't be working for another line. Okay. I will let you know as that gets up, but the door is already open for it. Yeah. Yeah, the funny thing is I actually have two freezers. Neither one of them would fit on. Well, I actually have two freezers, two little chest freezers. I think they're 17 cubic foot, plus a fridge freezer. Okay, so could I fire up the other one? Probably will eventually. Okay, but will I put a freezer there? No. Because in my eyes, that ain't big enough. It was funny. When I was growing up, we had, I think, a 22 cubic foot freezer. You could put a body or two in it if you wanted. Dad used to put a full deer in it. But when you take a look at the way your world is going, okay, I take a look at my gaming world and go, okay, like the world, and this is the funny thing about your imagination. Whatever you can imagine, the odds are it's replicatable in some fashion, albeit don't get your hopes up about going, let's take a book and let's read the book. Okay, I've got a scroll. I'm going to read the scroll. Now I'm going to cast a neat little spell because I'm really hungry. I'm going to read this scroll and cast a grand feast and have all the food show up. Doesn't work that way in the physical world yet. Okay. Now, I will tell you, the ancient Elfid race, it does work that way for them. Yeah, no doubt. I do not doubt that at all. LA's gone, we have a freezer that size. Saved our bacon literally and figuratively over the last 5 years. Yeah, no doubt. If you can get, the thing is, and this is why I got to go into my freezer for, so I'm going to do that, and I'll do that this week, because I came to one understanding. Let your imagination do what you will. They tell you that, people will tell you, thinking about doing something is as good as doing it, or is as bad as doing it. Well, if that's the case, this planet's already doomed. I can't tell you how many times I have imagined, and how many times have you watched a movie where the world was destroyed, where mankind was overrun by zombies and Monster. How many times have you watched somebody stare at their cell phone as they walk into traffic? Okay, oh, I got a game. I'm going to play this game, and out in the middle of traffic. Then they get mad when they get run over. Now, granted, I've seen people doing the same thing while they're driving. And they're going, I'm driving. Yeah, what was that? Oh, sheep. That was another person. If the people get off the sidewalks, I wouldn't run over so many of them. Your imagination is a phenomenal tool. The question is, can you see yourself with a better life? Okay. Are you willing to do the one thing that so many people forget about? Okay. There's an old saying that goes, God helps those that help themselves. And he wasn't talking about thieves. Okay, which is really ironic when you think about some of the people leading spiritual groups. Yeah, LA's going happened to us in a parking lot with a child, earlier with a child in tow. I nearly got run over the other day, just a couple of weeks ago. Somebody cut through the parking lot at dang near 50 kilometers an hour. In other words, going through a parking lot at around about 30 miles an hour, just because they were in a hurry. Now, I'm not quite certain how that works well, but I've got this, and this character I'm running. Okay, his name is Reuben Marks, not Reuben James. His name is Reuben Marks, but the little guy has all kinds of little hiccups that he's got. I mean, let's face it, at only 20 inches tall, at only 22 inches tall, sorry, he can't reach the top of the bar. So he took up mountaineering. Okay, and he's got one of three ways to get up to the top of the bar to order a drink. He can jump and catch it because he does have jumping as a skill. He uses his grappling hook on occasion to get up on top, or he will simply ask for help. And again, whatever you're going through, however much trouble you're having, reach out. I can honestly say the people in this chat room, on the whole, have been mind-bogglingly supportive. Okay, if you're new to this chat room, if you're new to this stream, understand people require oh, there we are. Yeah, no doubt. He's going, I'm short too. I can do anything but reach the top shelf. I got a storm for that. I was walking through a store the other day, and I looked at this poor young lady. Now, I'm 5'8", and she didn't reach my shoulder. Okay. So we are talking about somebody that really was vertically challenged. And she's looking up at the top shelf, and I watched 3 employees walk by her. Okay. So I stopped, I looked at her, and I said, what are you trying to reach? Well, actually, I started off with, I went, oh, I see you're vertically challenged. So what are you trying to reach? And she looks at me, and I said, well, you're not getting it anytime soon of your own accord, right? I said, what is it? So I pulled it down for her. Is that what you want? Is this what you're looking for? So she looks at it and goes, well, and he says, if I don't want to impose it, I said, look, if I wasn't going to help, I wouldn't. Unfortunately, we have to remember one little thing, Nick, and that is that whether it's an employee or a customer, doesn't matter. They are still people. Not going, oh, it's not me, it doesn't matter. If I were to have taken that road, this stream would have been over and done with. Okay, quite seriously, if it hadn't been for my other half, this stream would have been over and done with anyway. I'm absolutely certain of it. Okay, because while the stream was having trouble a few days ago, I locked my cell phone up. It locked onto a black screen. I had no way of telling what to do with it. But my other half, who happens to be 100% blind, helped me figure out how to get it working. And I'm pretty certain if she hadn't, that isolation factor, while my heart was all over the place, may well have been the end of the whole idea of streaming. Okay, at this point, I am looking at something very simple. I imagine a world where all of you guys are attaining your dreams. Now, I can, assuming your dreams are positive and fall within the karmic laws. Okay, now I can tell you I have no doubt in my heart. I can turn the light on and go, here's the road to go down that will give you the best odds of success. But you're going to have to do the work, not me. I mean, truth be told, it doesn't matter to me if it doesn't make any impact on my life if your life doesn't turn around. But I'm still quite willing to deal with it. The reality of it is we can turn this world. And this is why I say I am now, and what was it? Oh, that's what it was. And I do think, just to make it official, guys, I like the idea because it links the magazine, the magazine and the news and the live stream together. So what we are going to do is we are going to, and this is just simply to make it official with you guys. I'll make it official on social media. Okay. And we will simply start referring to this as positive perceptions. Okay. The reality of it is there is always something positive about everything going on. Okay. What we got? LA's going, a lot of people are looking for the instant, easy way. Unfortunately, that is also the road to failure and doom. More often than not. Okay. Yes, sometimes it works. But the old story of the tortoise and the hare is the key to making it happen. Now, if Nathan is still floating around, Nathan, you brought an idea into all of our heads. Okay. I do honestly believe we should sit down and make it happen. Okay. I really think we should take some time to sit down and start making that happen. Okay. Where is my little thingammy here? That. Need my clipboard so I've actually got something solid to work with. Oh, yeah. Oh, in a nutshell, Nathan, you had mentioned that you had, and I don't deal with Christmas much. Well, I don't. I deal with Christmas as far as gifts and what have you go. I've got a whole bunch of things I'm working on. I don't let Christmas songs, music, stories, none of it happen in my house. But you came up with a brilliant idea. You said you had an idea, either you had an idea for a book, for a story, from bearing in mind the off-worlders and what have you. There we go, the cryptid Santa Claus story. That one. Okay. I personally think we should make a run of that. And quite frankly, we've got 9 months. Well, yeah, we got 9 months. The year just got a whole sheepload shorter. Okay. Yeah, it can be a short story. I mean, from what I gather, I was looking into the definition of a short story. Only 40 pages. At 40 pages, we can have that up and running. I've got a beautiful editor in every way I can think of. Okay. That I'm certain we can then pull it all together as we get the story written. And rest assured, it will not. I'll discuss the details with you, but the reason I'm mentioning it this way is because the same thing applies to everybody else. We will work on what we've got, okay, and make these things happen. But you aren't going to have to worry about the cost. And quite literally, you've got the idea. Okay, I know this. I know how to write. And cocky as that may sound, that's just the way it goes. I've already got a printer up and running that has produced not only the 8 books, but she's done half the artwork for the different books I've got. Okay, because on top of being a printer, she's also a graphic designer. And there you go. But I think, we do that and we can make, I'm a firm believer it can be done. It's just a question whether we put the effort. there are a lot of people out there, and this is why I was talking about with the publishing part of the company I'm building. Let your imagination fly. Now, I am not an artist. Okay, I'm an artiste. I like to think I'm good, but I'm great with a stick man that fell down a staircase, landed in the carburetor. I can do that easy. Okay, don't know how much you're going to recognize of it, but it can be done. It really boils down to how do you look at the world. And think of it this way, Nathan. You're running the quantum show. Okay, while you're looking at that story. Okay, and this is just a suggestion. Do with it what you will. But imagine what would happen if you took that story and tied it into the quantum realm as it jumps into the physical realm. All of a sudden, you've got things happening all over the place, and the sky is literally only the beginning as to what we can do with it. Just think what the marketability of the thing is. You think about it. This is where the imagination gets out of hand. Get it again. I'm starting to think I shouldn't have moved the books. But this book here, when I wrote this was a story I told to my son. Okay, this was a children's. My son was 2 years old when I wrote it, and without hearing the story. Okay, now with that in mind, I already have merchandising ideas set in place. Absolutely, Nathan. We will be you'll be in touch with me. I'll be in touch with you. We'll figure it out. Absolutely deal with work. There is so much that we have in this room alone. There is so much creativity. And all we got to look at is how do you take a look at the negative side of things and find a positive spin on it. Even when we look at the esoteric abilities, the esoteric tools. Okay. Astrology will tell you a staggering amount. Problem is, you there also have the option. Am I going to look at the positive side or am I going to look at the negative side? Because either one, now I can read, I can find any book, doesn't matter. I can find a positive side to it and a negative. I just don't bother looking to the negative too much. Aside from my own self-worth seems to have really taken a sheep kicking. Okay, now the question is, when we take a look at this world, how much of an impact can we actually make? Now, I watch people saying they're going, the world's going to end, we're all going to die. I just watched a video the other day where a very well-known individual came out and of all the stupid things, started telling people how he was absolutely certain that we were due for a doomsday invasion. I'm like, if that's going to happen, people, there's nothing you can do about it. But how are you going to live until that happens? Okay, I've got a character that, like, the one character I run on Thursday, okay, is a solo campaign. That is with my little chap, okay, and he's only 1'10". Okay, that's Reuben. Now Reuben is he's a straight halfling, not a Kender, just a halfling. I've got another character I don't have his name yet. Right now, more to the point, I don't remember his name. I've got another character that I play on Sunday that is, I rolled him up. He was supposed to be a half orc. Turned out he was a full orc. Okay. Absolutely there, LA. If we talk about all the bad things in the world, yeah, you can depress people really quick. Why bother? The one thing I have always aimed at with this stream, and for that matter with people when I'm talking to them in general, is to find something positive to focus on. What are you accomplishing? I I knew a waitress one day. She was working years ago. She was working in a restaurant, in a licensed restaurant. And the thing was, they had to mix their own drinks. Now, I was absolutely stunned when she quit the job to go to the profession. And here's why. She mixed her own drinks, and without exception, if she went to make a mixed drink, a blender drink, she would get everything set up and forget to put the lid on. When she turned the blender on, invariably, she'd forget to put the lid on. The thing that was stunning was the job she left waitressing for. She left her waitressing job, and she was good at it. Really, really socially, very socially interactive. She was good at it, but she left her waitressing job to become a forensic scientist. Oh, nice, Woo. Woo's just saying, I just watched the P-3 airplane fly over me and land at the naval base. Yeah, watching planes come in, I mean, think of it this way. Those planes were built because somebody's imagination, in this case, the Wright brothers, they're the ones that got credit for it. They weren't the first to build it. I forget who the guy was, but there was a chap in Europe that, if I recall correctly, actually built it first. But the Wright brothers got to market first. That's why cotton is running so well and hemp is struggling, because cotton got to market first. Iwox goes, I have a haunted bottle. Yeah, I hope that's not the bottle you live in. Hopefully you're not living in a bottle. I used to. I used to live in a bottle. And I will tell you, the best wine I ever tasted was Black Tower. Now, I got into drinking Black Tower because the bottle looks medieval in configuration. Really looks neat that way. But it was the best wine I'd ever tasted. Okay. Now, I will warn you, the wine at the top of the first bottle is not great. But the wine at the bottom of the fourth bottle is absolutely smooth. Where are we here? Are the Damons in the bottle? Sounds like a really demented song there, Wu Train. Are demons in the bottle? I know what the question was for. But that being said, it is possible. Now, the nice part about it, when I'm writing, all of these things coming are possible. I just try and keep them separated. The imagination is the key to making your world whatever it is you desire to have. It just depends on how far you can make it go. But every improvement, every technological jump that we have made in society, and if we go back into the older days, every herbological jump that was made back when people were really focusing on herbology and on the naturopathic way of doing things, every advancement has started with the imagination. And this is why it is so important we put it to use. That's just the reality behind it. There we are. And this is why we're going to start looking, and that's why I said, thank you very much, LA, because effective immediately, when I'm starting to advertise for this whole stream, we are going to start referring to it as positive perceptions, because it really depends on how you look at the world as to whether or not the world is going to start changing for you. Now, there is such a thing as doing what they call looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. I'll tell you, the last time I put rose-colored glasses on, couldn't see a dang thing. I prefer the clear lenses. But when we take a look at it, it's time to start looking at what you desire to accomplish. Not everybody desires to be in the spotlight. I'll tell you, heading for the spotlight is the last place I was planning on. As my son pointed out, he says, Dad, I know you don't really like people, but you've got to get socially active with them. Which, quite frankly, he's undoubtedly correct in that. Which is why I said I am looking at making the trip to Reno. Okay, to actually make connections there. The neat little part about all of this is I'm standing here, I'm seeing my world start to pick up pace. And I'm telling you, I'm going to throw out where are we here? Oh, that's the funny part. He is more active than I am. Okay. Like he still leaves the house to go to work. And he goes out and he goes down to the gym. He's got a full life. LA, that's just terrible. It's like people are okay. A little ketchup helps. Yep, no doubt. It's kind of like the old question. How many people does it take? How many carpenters does it take to shingle a roof? And you look at it and go, well, it depends entirely on how thin you slice them. But both my kids are a lot more social. I can stay at home. Like I went out today, right, in order to deal with a couple of things. But I'll be home now. Today is Tuesday. I won't have to leave the house now until Friday. Right. Maybe Monday. But I won't have to leave the house in all likelihood prior to that. But I don't, it works out well for me. Primarily, becoming somewhat reclusive did create an interesting conundrum. But it does leave me with a lot of time to write, which is why I've broken it down. I've got 3 books on top of all the writing. I've got 3 books I'm reading at the same time. Well, I was thinking of it, but, that means I got to leave the house. And I will tell you this. Here's the neat part about the sun. Okay, for those of you that are dealing with depression, direct sunlight, half an hour a day. And when I say direct, doesn't mean you have to go outside. Okay, it means you got to open the window. A screen covering or a screen door is fine. The sun will still do it. But the vitamin D your body requires is already in your body. It works kind of like a photosynthetic thing. No, I am not a doctor. Do your own research. Okay. But what I've found is when I've told people, get in front of daylight. Okay. At least half an hour a day. Look, where are we? Woo's going, Keith, do you know the crafts that have been flying by the sun and what? Yeah. I've known about them for 25 years. Okay. Way back when what were they called? Way back when the shoot, I forget, I'm drawing a blank. The BBS systems. Way back when the BBSs and the news groups were up and running. I spotted somebody made a comment in one of the news groups I was following. They made a comment and I went, oh, so I'm guessing now, understand, with the news groups back then, if you got a response to something, you were doing good. And you'd have to go hunting for it for the answer anyway. So, and then it was always, a quiet little thing, usually. This one day in particular, somebody made a comment. And I just did my normal thing. I looked at it and I went, oh, so I guess you're unaware. I said, I don't understand the the longitude and latitude thing. So I'm going to do it this way. I guess you're unaware of the fleet that moved into the solar system. Okay, and he's now parked about a third of the way in from the outer flank, about a third of the way in at the 4 o'clock mark, just inside the sun. Just inside the sun's corona. Well, that was fine. I said that, and I carried on with my day. The very next morning, I had an email that was in all caps. It was an email addressed to me personally, okay, on my email. And I didn't put my email in the chat room, in the news group. And I get this one question. Okay, what do you know about the fleet? So I explained where they were and what was going on. Now that's at 7 o'clock in the morning. 11 o'clock at night, when I go back on the stream, the news group is gone. So I contacted the chap directly and asked him what happened. And he claimed ignorance as to who I was. Right, and shut it down. Oh, Wu-Train. The technology is quite literally, it is subquantum magnetoelectrics, because you take that energy from the heat from the sun and the heat and the light from the sun, you turn that into bolstering the force field that contains the atmosphere and the cooling system, and all of a sudden we go. Yeah, I apparently hit it way too close. Because it was like all of a sudden everything shut down. Now, I didn't have any sort of computer assault on me because I didn't push the issue. It's like, okay, well, I know I hit the nail, but, the OTE drive takes all of that stuff from the sun and counterpoints it. Now, the funny part about it is that same drive has been modified to handle the energy weapons that ship uses. Now, to give you an idea of that ship, when it first arrived, that was the consortium's main battleship. And the main battleship, now this is why I get a kick out of people that go, thinking about it is as bad as doing it. This main battleship, to give you an idea of the size of it, the HMS Titanic. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. Take the HMS Titanic, turn it broadside, and slide it into the barrel of the ship, into the barrel of the gun. They still would have room to maneuver. Now, this is the firepower these guys are packing. Okay, they're not here to protect mankind. They're not here to wipe out mankind. Clearly, if they wanted to wipe out mankind, that would be done. Now, that was 25 years ago. And they'd only come in with a small number of ships. Since then, they managed to correct a whole pile of things and bring a lot more in. Okay, it would not take much, but they are here to protect Earth, to protect Esau, the planet you live on, not to protect the human race. Okay, you guys you still are the caretakers. And it's time we start behaving as such. But again, if your imagination is all that is required to make your life better, if that's all that is required, why are so many of you struggling? Why are so many of you fighting with depression or fighting with, what do I do next? I hate my job. I hate my life. Why, if the imagination is all that is required, why are you still struggling? Okay, I know why I am. I'm lazy. And I have kept doing things backwards. Now, for the first time in my life, I am literally going, here's how we change it. Now, I'm going to have to look that up. Unless somebody wants to tell me what Patel's a demiurge. Because honestly, I don't know that one. Eric, how we doing? Oh, wonderful. That is no fun. Hopefully you got the we'll try English, shall we? Hopefully you got that all sorted out. And then preacher, I have turned around and looked at I responded to your Facebook question. I will be contacting you after that. I just couldn't do it beforehand. But welcome aboard. Sadly, since the imagination is the key, this is when we start putting it to work. And like I said, it's just a question of going out and going, look, come and take a look at this. We can turn this around. Funny part there, yeah, like I get a kick out of a lot of the, oh, I see. Thank you so much for clarifying that. The neat part about it, if you look at what it says in the Bible, we all are capable of that. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, ignore what it says in the Bible. I can tell you from practical experience, virtually everything you put your mind to, you can make happen. Okay, you really can. It's just a question of getting a plan in place and then going at it one step at a time. Okay, break your changes down into 15-minute to half-hour tasks. And I'm telling you, you'll get the goal. You will attain the goals you're aiming for. Okay, let me just see something here. If we hit refresh, I'm just curious what my count is looking like. Now, I will tell you, and again, if you like the stream, do me a favor and give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel, and then share the daylights out of the thing. It's time to start turning the lights on here and really drawing people to open their eyes, to open their ears, and frankly, to open their hearts, that we can turn this world around, in spite of what the people that are supposedly in leader positions. Yeah, Eric's going, isn't the central tenet of the Kabbalistic practices that we have the within? We have, well, yes. And in all fairness there, that is the same backbone of from what I saw in and I don't have all the Bibles anymore, in the Christian Bibles, in the Jewish Bibles, in the Islamic, in the Wiccan, all of them say the same dang thing. Okay, this is why, religious wars don't make any sense. Okay, you have the ability to create the world you desire to live within, but it's up to you to get off your tail feathers and make it happen. Okay, like I said, if only 1% of the people that I reach turn around and tell two other people, okay, well, and tell other people, and 1% of them come and join in this, and subscribe to this stream, we are looking at over 4 million people in less than a year. And that's if only 1% do it. Picture how fast that changes if 5 do. Yes, even Buddhism does. I have not seen a spiritual path that does not follow and does not say the same thing. They use different words, they use different stories, but the outcomes are the same. Okay, and this is why I said right at the beginning here, when I first changed gears here, I went, look, I believe wholeheartedly in God. I believe wholeheartedly in Jesus Christ. I'm not telling you who to believe in. I'm telling you in this chat room, in this stream, I'm God. I mean, yes, the real God could step in and go, but why bother? Like, realistically, he gave us free will, free choice. He didn't give you freedom from consequence. Okay. Thank you so much there, Eric. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I was looking at that there. Well, I just refreshed to see. And in all fairness, I remember way back, I was looking at 30 people going, that's absolutely stunning. The fact that we've got almost 600 is absolutely amazing. And the reality of it is the support that I see going not just from you guys towards me. That's almost inconsequential to me. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate it. And like I mentioned just today to somebody, so many people have stepped up and said, look, you're making a difference. I don't have to, it's not a question I have to look at it. Well, it's funny, Eric. The book The Secret has one critical complication. That's what it was. But the one problem I saw in it, and I do not agree with it at all, with this aspect of it, it talks about what you want. Well, the problem is, if you're saying, I want such and such, what you're doing is you're creating the energy of want, and you're putting out there the energy of lack. Myself, I don't want, I don't need. I refer to it in terms of I choose or I desire. Okay. And I will get to those on another day, the big difference between the linguistics. Because I will tell you, vocalization, linguistic vocalization, has a direct impact on how your life evolves. And it really does boil down to whether you can see it. That is what. Okay. So I mean, from my standpoint, like I said, I'm not perfect by any means. I'm also not the only one that has a way of doing things. But I will tell you, it is absolutely critical that we stop banging our head against the wall and going, I can't do it. I'm so broke. I'm so destitute. I'm so lost. You may well be lost. Okay. But this is where you reach out and go, I got a problem. Okay. I'm not good at reaching out. And yet I finally reached a point where I had to reach out to the moderators here and other people and go, look, I am way in over my head. And either this is going to be changed, I need help to change it, or I'm just simply going to up and die and that'll solve that problem. It will mean I don't have a lot to worry about. I'll be so busy shaking hands with the people in hell that I don't have time to worry. I remember somebody one day, I was walking through the grocery store talking to a friend of mine, and all of a sudden this woman looks at me and goes, there's a place for you in hell for people like you. I looked at her and I said, yep, they call it the throne. Well, I'll tell you, she climbed right up and wandered off. But I am no better than any of you, and some of you are way better at things than I am. The only gift I have, in my eyes, is I don't see myself as anything special. Okay. Do I know how to write? Yeah, I've sort of had to come to terms with the idea I do. I'm not the best. Okay. My editor makes my ability to write may be good. My ability to edit, not so great. But I've got an editor that I intend on putting to use as much as I can, as much as her time will allow. And eventually, she will be doing all of that work. Okay, but that's because eventually we will have the income to be able to do it properly. And as I've told some of the people, I know the moderators that step up do so voluntarily. I can only imagine how much struggle they have and how much work they do in the background to make sure I don't have to deal with it. Because I'll tell you, since I opened that door, and I mean, I can imagine the work, but since I opened that door and said, I'm not dealing with this anymore, you take care of it for me, please. Right. Somebody sent me an email going, look, can I get back into the room? I went, I'm not the one to ask. I already wiped my hands of it. I took the rules that I was looking for and went, here you go. Here's the rules I'm looking for. Now, leave it up to the moderators. You want to get back in, talk to them. Yeah, that's the one area I don't write. One of a few areas I don't. Eric's going, I used to proofread and help edit for a horror writer. With your mind, that doesn't surprise me. I don't write horror, I don't write adult, and I don't write mystery. However, I am co-authoring a horror mystery. Okay. The guy that's actually doing it, much like what I've got and what I was talking about with Nathan. Okay. I know how to write. That's the easy part. Yeah, I don't do that. Yeah, that's very much the case. That's a terrible play on words, but very much the case. So I mean, from that stand, there's a lot of things I won't do, but there's a lot of things I won't do and a lot more people I won't. But that being said, will I take a horror if somebody's got a short story or a novel for that matter that is a horror story? That type of story, I will still publish. I don't write them, but I will publish them. Adult, your adult relationship, things like Harlequin romance, I'm not touching. Okay, it's not that I don't think they're good books. It's they're way outside my purview. And therefore, I'm just going, that's where I draw the line. I'm not dealing with those. Okay. And I'm certainly not going to deal with books that go, here's how you overthrow government. Let's build this one on overthrowing a industry. Yeah, no doubt there, LA. That's kind of like me and the paranormal. You guys call it paranormal, I call it normal. But in case you haven't figured out, LA, just to put things in perspective, with this neat little boost I just got to my credit card, I now have a way of making the flight down there. Okay, so it literally took the strain off, and I'm actually able to start thinking seriously about it. But we will talk about that on another day. I am, but that'll be literally something that we'll talk about. The trip to Reno, if the borders stay open, I'll be there. Okay. I've got those are the two trips I'm looking at making. And I don't travel well, so what is that? Oh, okay. See, I finally got things working here, and I finally took this neat little thing and got the alarm set on to remind me when to do things. But it did tell me one other thing. We've just hit the 2-hour mark. That'd be an idea there, Eric. Now, I hate to do this, guys, but we're hitting the 2-hour mark here. So I really do want to say thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. And from here on out, we are going to start moving forward. Okay, like I said, from here on out, when I start setting up, I appreciate that, Eric. I will give you a call and discuss that. Now, that being said, from here on out, when I start advertising, thanks very much, LA. We are going to start referring to this stream as positive perceptions. Regardless of what the topic is, that's where it's going to say, where we're going to anchor it. But I'll tell you, your guys' support and input is absolutely irreplaceable. Thank you so much for your time. I will talk to you again in the near future. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.